This week on the farm, we're doing a bit of everything. Harvesting black radish, making a quick pickle, finishing our third chicken coop, and putting in new crops for the warmer months. We plant horseradish and Nicola potatoes and make space in the garden for something special. A gift of dahlia tubers, including one named after our daughter. And we deal with a flying chicken pen, literally. It's not glamorous, it's not perfect, but it's ours. So let's start with harvesting some black radish. What have we got here? Oh, this is a big one. The last week of spring stretches over the farm like a cotton sheet. Warm, well-worn and clinging to the skin in that gentle way only spring knows how. Pulling the ones that are showing it at the top. Let's see. It's a good size one. The earth is full, the garden is heavy, and the work, it never ends. But neither does the beauty. Look at this one. Oh my gosh. That is a massive as well.
So the other one's longer, but that's a fat one.
We began the day harvesting black radish, one of the oldest heirloom varieties, with a thick charcoal skin and a crisp white centre. The round roots are meant to grow to about 9 centimetres in diameter. They have a moderately pungent flavour that increases as they grow bigger, and they can be used raw or cooked, and they're often sliced and grated and added to salads. They store well and they're easy to grow. And as you can probably see, we left some of ours to get a bit too big. They grow well in the cool soil of early spring, and we planted them straight into compost-rich beds, and we spaced them out about 10 centimetres apart, and we watered them in well until they were established, and then we just watered them basically every probably 2 or 3 days. They're really good for you, high in vitamin C, good for digestion, and they last in the fridge or in a root cellar if you store them right. I knew that it was going to take too long to slice them all up by using a knife, so I asked Paul to do it with the mandolin. While Paul sliced the radish thinly with the mandolin, I boiled the jars and I also got the pickling liquid going. So for every 220 grams of sliced radish, I basically use half a cup of white vinegar, half a cup of sugar, a quarter of a cup of water, a teaspoon of salt, some mustard seeds if you've got them, and a bay leaf. So if you boil your jars for about 10 minutes, it sterilises them, but it also keeps them warm for when you put the hot brine into the jars so that they don't crack. This is only a refrigerated pickle, so it's not one that I'm canning, so I won't be boiling them again. I know that this recipe should basically last unopened in the fridge about 4 months. But once you've opened them, that you should probably use them within a week or 2. So I just popped the radish slices in the jars uncooked, but I think next time I'll boil them in the brine for a little bit. While they soften up after soaking in the pickled liquid for a few weeks, I think that I would like them a little bit softer. But if you like that crunchy texture, then you don't need to worry about doing that step. And while I pickled, Paul wrapped up the last of the chicken wire around the new coop, our third chicken pen. And after spilling some of the pickling liquid down the side of the jars, I decided that I probably should be using the funnel instead. So if you're interested in growing the black radish, they can be sown, the seeds can be sown at pretty much any time of the year in Australia. They're best grown in full sun, and basically they need about 6 hours of full sun each day. We planted our black radish at the start of spring, I think. Black radish doesn't like too much fertiliser because it will just result in excessive leaf growth and the roots won't form as big. So you shouldn't need any extra fertiliser for radish if your soil is prepared well. The radish grows really quickly and should be ready to harvest in about 2 months. You can eat the radish leaves as well, but because they're a little bit spiky or prickly, we normally give our radish leaves to the chickens to eat. You can actually eat the seed pods of the black radish as well. They're ready to harvest when they're young and bright green and before they appear bumpy. So you pull or cut the individual pods from the plant and eat them as soon as possible after harvesting. Because we let ours get too big, their roots were a bit tough or woody, so you don't want to leave it too late like we did. You want to harvest the roots when they're young and tender. So maybe get them a little bit smaller than how we harvested ours. So that's it. That's our radish pickles, and I used some of the ones that were left over in the pot to roast. Sharp, sweet and easy. And now to harvest some zucchini. Probably leave that one. Are there any more in there? There's one over there. I don't know if I can reach that one though. These zucchini are the Genovese variety, and they have a really light green skin. They have sweet flavour and edible flowers, and their flesh is firm but tender, and they're amazing. There's no need to peel them. So there's some nice zucchini. I'll probably make some zucchini slice with these. We'll also harvest some cucumber. These cucumbers are the poinsettia variety, and they're good. They have good disease resistance, but I think because we let them get a little bit too big and we didn't water them enough, they had a little bit of a taste of bitterness when we ate them. We've had some really strange weather, and it's been going from really cold to really hot really quickly, and I think it's been stressing out all the plants. And now we'll harvest some strike bush beans. These are a dwarf bush bean, but they're really high yielding, and they have stringless beans which are about 14 centimetres long. They have an excellent sweet flavour, so they're awesome all round. That one's a bit skinny. The bush beans also help fix the nitrogen in the soil. The grass is creeping into all of our garden beds, so we'll need to get on to doing some weeding soon as well. I really love green beans, so I can't wait to have them steamed with my dinner tonight. They're all a bit skinny. Need to get a bit fatter. Another great little harvest. I'm going to pull the rest of the radish that are ready as well, because I don't want them to get too big.
A black radish.
Oh, that's a small one. Probably what size they should be.
Mm. It's a nice black white radish.
Yeah, it looks like it's been bleached. It's an albino one.
Some of this, the snap sugar peas are got new growth. Well, that's what I'm saying, they're coming back with new growth. That one's going to flower. Do you want to leave that one?
I'm leaving in a few radish plants to let them flower and go to seed. That's a good one.
Mm. Yep. Oh, that's a big one.
There's a tiny one that's
Yep, that's
too
right.
close together. Two there together. Oh, three. It's a tiny one. There we go. So we've got some beetroot here that are ready for harvesting as well. This garden just keeps on giving today. These beetroot are the Detroit variety. They have globe shaped roots up to about 7 centimeters, and you can eat the leaves of this beetroot as well. This beetroot has a very good flavour and it's ready in about 2 months as well. And here's a volunteer potato from the last time we attempted to grow potatoes there in the straw bales. All in all, a very decent harvest today. So this year I bought some potato seed and some horseradish root. So I'll grow them together. So here's why horseradish and potatoes are great companion plants. Horseradish produces strong aromatic compounds in its roots and leaves that can help repel or discourage common pests that attack potatoes, including aphids, beetles and some soil pests. It doesn't stop every pest, but it reduces pressure on the crop and can cut down on the need for any sprays or anything like that. That same pungent chemistry in horseradish also has antibacterial and antifungal properties, and planted near potatoes, it can help reduce the incidence of certain soil-borne diseases and create a healthier root zone environment. Horseradish has a deep, vigorous root system which helps break the compacted soil and improve aeration and drainage, which is really handy for potatoes that also need loose, well-drained beds. So now they're all planted, it's time to put the tarp over our new chicken pen. Not as easy as it sounds when there's a storm about to hit.
Well, I'm trying to walk down the back, but you need to come out.
We got these chicken pens from Bunnings, and honestly, they seem pretty sturdy compared to the first one we had. And as some of you have already pointed out, you could probably even use these chicken coops as a greenhouse too. We're using Avery mesh pegged into the ground to keep the quolls out as well, so that we had to buy separately. We couldn't find our big tent pegs, so we ended up using tiny little ones and just hoping that they're going to hold it. But for now, our nesting boxes are just cardboard. It works. If you keep chickens, what have you used for nesting boxes in the past, and what do you think works the best? Our chickens in the big pen have like a wooden house or a wooden chicken coop with all their little nesting boxes inside that. That storm picked up our chicken coop and blew it over the fence and into the next paddock. So we had a package arrive from Cathi at Little Garden Big Dreams. She sent us some dahlia tubers, including one named Willow's Wonder for our daughter. A very special and thoughtful gift. Thank you so much, Cathi. And this tuber named Nugget already has green shoots coming out of it. So I expanded Willow's garden. I laid down some extra cardboard, I put some mulch on top, I added compost and soil, And then they made these little garden signs to go with the names of the dahlia tubers that Cathi had written on the bags. And so basically I'll just plant each of the tubers sideways. And if I can see any sprouts, and some of them did have sprouts already, I'll put them in about fist deep. And I won't give them any water until they're showing growth above the soil to avoid rot.
I just wanna go out and walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out and walk with you. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with our two elbows. I like to see the shape you're in from time to time. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine.
Now I'm just going to lay a thin layer of sugarcane mulch on top.
I just wanna see the same things you can see, understand the meaning on a new degree. Maybe that could happen when you're next to me. I just wanna see the same things you can see.
I pretty much follow the same process for all my garden beds. I put down the cardboard to suppress the weeds, I add the compost and soil on top, then a thick mulch to retain the moisture and to feed the soil as it breaks down. And each year we add more inches of compost and mulch to keep the soil life thriving. We have this little white statue of 4 figures holding hands, and in the middle a big white heart with Willow's name on it. Gifts from people who cared. This way of gardening follows the permaculture principles, starting with care for the soil. The cardboard mimics nature's leaf litter layer, blocking weeds without chemicals and creating habitat for worms and microbes. The compost adds nutrients and the mulch keeps it all in place. And we disturb the soil as little as possible. It's low input, low waste and long-term thinking. This week brought us food, wild weather and a few kind surprises. And next week we begin again.